This is extremely dishonest. I saw the one. I saw a few people talking about the arrest of Don Lemon. Okay, they're saying, oh, they're arresting him because he covered a protest. You know, the First Amendment, all that crap. They're being dishonest. Every single one, every single person, right, who is against the arrest of Don Lemon. The only thing they say is that, oh, you're arresting a journalist who was protesting, who was covering a protest, who was exercising their First Amendment. That's what they're saying. Not a single one of them mentioned him being in that church. Not a single one of them. Not a single one of them mentioned him entering a church and disrupting a congregation, frightening people, scaring people. Not a single one of them. You wonder why. You wonder why. Because that would change the narrative. That would change the narrative to see that, you know what, maybe it wasn't about the First Amendment, right? Maybe it was about him terrorizing a group of people who had nothing to do with anything, right? Who's minding their own business. A group of people who weren't outside doing whatever, right? Who's minding their own business. He entered, right, a church, uninvited, but I mean, you know, it's a church, and terrorized a group of people. That's what he did. That's not you exercising your First Amendment. No, that's you being a terrorist, right? That's you terrorizing citizens. So he wasn't arrested for exercising his First Amendment. He was arrested for being a jackass, for being a dick, right? For being, honestly, what is it? Probably a terrorist in a sense, right? Not necessarily harmful, but malicious, right? Not a single one of these people, right, who was talking about their outrage about Don Lemon being arrested, mentions the church. Not a single one of them. That's why you see how, this is why I'll constantly see how Democrats, how the left are dishonest. Okay? They don't mention the whole picture, right? Probably Don Lemon was covering the protest. He was outside, you know, joining us, whatever. But it stopped once he entered that church. Once he terrorized those people, right? Once he brought fear into these people. Because who's gonna know, right? What would any of these people know what they're doing? None of these churchgoers knew what these random ass people entering their church was gonna do to them. So I think it's funny. I think this is why I'm honestly said where I'm fed up with the left. I'm fed up with Democrats. They're dishonest people. They're hypocrites. They like to control the media. This is why so many people are upset about the media. This is why they're so against the media, right? Because shit like this. They're so outraged about the media. How you guys want to create such a skewed narrative and then it turns into like a propaganda, right? A propaganda machine. This is the problem I'm finding. Absolutely disgusting with these people.